My name is Gerry Brannigan. I'm a partner of HKA and I head up the Forensic Technical Services Group. I'd like to welcome today one of our consulting experts to discuss his experience of working on some expert projects with HKA. Welcome, Ken.
Thanks, Gerry.
Ken McLean is a chartered engineer with more than 35 years of mechanical building services engineering experience, also known as MEP. Ken's building services engineering experience ranges from on-site work to senior management. He covers all aspects of technical design, management, planning, installation, monitoring, supervision, testing and commissioning, troubleshooting, reporting and advising. And his expert appointments have concerned major infrastructure projects in oil and gas, healthcare and mixed use developments in Australia, Canada and the UK, as well as the Middle East and CIS countries. So welcome, Ken. Thank you very much for joining us. Can you tell us about the first dispute that you testified on?
Gosh, that's a few years ago now, Gerry. I started as a consulting expert with HKA in 2016, so 5 years ago. And I remember starting off as an assistant expert, then named expert, produced a lot of briefing notes and reports, and began to wonder when I would be appointed on something that would actually go beyond a report. And in mid-2017, I was appointed as the expert for a dispute in Australia. Now, you might wonder why someone from the UK is appointed as an expert for a dispute in Australia, but the reason was that this particular client wanted a completely independent view from someone who had no pre-existing contact or knowledge of the parties. And it was a design and build project, a very large project, and the matters I was instructed on were concerned with MEP. And the hearing was arranged in August 2018 in Australia. I got down there nice and early because jet lag is something that you don't want to have when you're giving evidence. And I remember the day of the hearing. It was my first opportunity to give evidence. I remember waiting in the lobby outside the courtroom or the hearing room, waiting to be called. And it's a lonely place to stand around because there's not many people around. And someone came out and said, "Ken, Mr. McLean, you're on." And I walked in, and I remember the walk down through the hearing room, and I remember thinking, I can feel all eyes on me as I made my way to the box. I was sworn in by the tribunal, and then followed evidence in chief by counsel from our side. And with hindsight, I remember the scariest two words from counsel from our side, and these were, "Your witness." And with that, opposing counsel stood up, wry smile, and proceeded to ask me questions and interrogate my findings. And you know, that's when the great HKA training kicked in. And I'll talk about that afterwards, but I knew where to direct the answers that I was giving to the tribunal, not to the person asking them. And I knew that I had to take my time and think before answering. Time flew by. We were adjourned for coffee, and there was an unusual experience because when you go out for coffee, no one speaks to you because you're still under oath and you can't speak to anyone. Back in, and I counted my total time in the box was about 3 hours, and it flew by. And then came the best 3 words from opposing counsel, and these 3 words are "no further questions." I wanted to relax, but again, from the training, I knew I couldn't, because that was the point that my client's counsel stood up to redirect, and I knew he had to ask me questions on matters which he felt that perhaps I had not answered clearly enough. And then when that was over, I was thanked by the tribunal and dismissed. All over. Finished. That work, all that work done, nothing further to do. It's a great feeling, and once you've given evidence for the first time, it's something that you'll never forget.
Ken, so what about another question? When you look back on that dispute, what is the one thing that you would have done differently?
Oh, with hindsight, I think I would not have overthought it the way I did. I would have relaxed a little bit more. I think I spent a lot of time trying to second guess what opposing counsel was going to ask me, and that's a mentally exhausting process. So I wouldn't have overthought it as much as I did. And with hindsight, I would have stopped myself saying something that the tribunal pulled me up on. And it was in response to a particular question from counsel. And I remember I paused and I thought, I've got to think about this. And I opened my response with an everyday expression. And I just said, to be honest. And I was immediately shut down by the arbitrator, who stopped me, reminded me I was under oath, and that being honest was the minimum expected of me. So lesson learned there, schoolboy error, but one that sticks in my mind.
Brilliant. And looking and thinking about the number of expert projects that you've actually looked at over the last few years, what advice would you give to an expert that is about to testify for the first time?
The same advice I got, which is take full advantage of the training offered by HKA. I did courtroom training. I did cross-examination training with video recording by a barrister when I was stopped and playback, and you see the manner in which you're coming across, or where you're perhaps not listening properly. And you know, that training stands you in really good stead. And I remember when I was sitting in my first time in the box, having the strange sense of, I've been here before. I think I can see what opposing counsel or where his opposing counsel was trying to go with this line of questioning. So the training really helped me feel that I was, to some extent, in control. I would also say, know your report. That might sound quite obvious. Personally, I like to get up early in the morning of the hearing and read it slowly, and then I put it away, close my laptop, and I don't look at it again before the hearing. Stop overthinking it. And talk to and take advice from more experienced HKA experts. I've always found everybody to be super supportive. And just anecdotally, I like coffee in the morning. And on the morning of a hearing, I don't drink any coffee. And I would suggest a good deodorant, because there's a lot of adrenaline in a hearing. And maybe just one final thought. You should maybe think of giving evidence as a privilege rather than an ordeal. You've put all this work into your report, and now finally you get the chance to explain your analysis and defend your opinions. I think it's a privilege.
Fantastic. I completely agree. That's really good insight. Thank you very much, Ken. And we'll wrap this up by just adding on finding out what are you working on just now?
I'm working on on a very large dispute in the Middle East involving multiple MEP reports. They've been filed. Opposing experts' reports have been received, and I'm presently working on replies or response reports. I have a feeling that, Gerry, some of these are going to be landing on your desk rather shortly for peer review.
Well, look forward to looking through them, and I'm sure there'll be less comments on this set of reports than there was in the first report that you ever did?
Oh, I remember that one, yeah. I can say with honesty that my first ever report for HKE, I think I got 3 out of 20. And I thought I was a good report writer, but I didn't know how to write an expert report for a hearing.
Yeah, it's certainly a different mindset from coming from the design background like I did myself. So,
Yeah.
But you can see the difference that the training and the working together to learn how to do that has helped you, and we can all see that and really appreciate your contribution today, Ken. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Thanks, Gerry.
Cheers.